What up, thou, ladies and gentlemen? We are rambling and gambling.
What's happening, everybody? How you doing there, Mr. DJ Big Boss? It is
Feeling
Friday night.
great. Feeling great, man. It's Friday night. I'm feeling good. I think I might need to put the shades on because the eyes are kind of low.
Yeah,
Woo!
my woo,
There
my
we go.
I've been looking forward to this all day. You know, it reminds me of the old way, the way we started with the old school with the Friday night live, and hopefully we get this thing growing little by little, and keep it going.
Absolutely, man. And I love your approach on this one, man. Rambling and gambling. It don't always have to be about, who's betting who and when and where and why. Sometimes brushing up, dusting off the cabinet and getting all the basic techniques and, trying to stay strong as a disciplined sports bettor is fun stuff to talk about as well.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. And listen, yes, we're trying to gear some stuff towards new betters because I know we've both been getting questions here and there, and more exposure we get. I'm getting them, and myself, I'm getting more and more questions from new people. But even guys like us that've been around for a long time, man, every once in a while we could always go back to basics, get a little kick in the behind when we're not running too good, and or we're running really good and we're starting to get a little bit too big on it, big headed
Shoot.
about it. So listen, we could, some things might be that we're going to talk about tonight might be things that we've all heard a million times, but I'll tell you, these are the things that when I made the switch into taking this stuff serious, these are the things that helped me 100%. So that's
Absolutely, man. Well, I say, I mean, if you're gonna put your money to it, at some point you gotta. I mean, we all started off having fun and gambling, but after you lose or win so much, you gotta come up with some type of strategy to constructively pick your picks and stuff. So,
100%.
even beginner betters, long time betters, we all need those resources.
That's right. And we all listen. I switched my strategy a few times before I got onto something that starting to work, somewhat. So, just because one thing isn't working doesn't mean you can't try something else. And you know, like we say, what I'm trying to what I personally think is that there are definitely some cardinal rules, and like we said with this topic of this show, that applies to just the sports betting, and gambling really at its core. Has nothing to do with wins and losses. It has nothing to do with betting baseball or football or UFC. It has to do with we should be able to come up with between everybody a good almost 10 commandments that you should follow. But there's definitely 3 or 4 main things I believe that you need to do if you want to do this seriously, and even if you're doing it recreationally, even if you're doing it you want to make money, even if you're doing it to every once in a while you're throwing a bet in, because your team is playing. These rules are just rules I think everybody should go by. So that's how
Wow.
I came
So
up with this
I
topic.
could imagine
Really.
that. I can imagine the order for the rules probably be different from everyone, like
Yeah.
what's more important than others. But
All right.
at the same time, some of the rules will be um, probably almost universal. Top three or top five should be in there for sure. But I'm ready to take that ride. I mean, let's
Yes.
let's get into it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'm gonna be the student. You're gonna be the teacher,
But we'll see
and
what you
we
think
gonna have
about
some
these.
fun, man.
And yes, no particular order. And yes, some of these things you need to incorporate with other things, like it's a combination. So just to start off, for me, I think you really have to decide what kind of sports bettor are you going to be. Are you going to be a recreational sports bettor? Or are you taking a step at making this a full-time job? Which to me, that's what a professional is. A pro doesn't mean that you're some great sports bettor and you're making a ton of money. That does not mean it. It means that's how you're paying your bills. Whether you're doing good at paying it or bad at paying it. If your sole money is coming on betting sports, you're a professional, or gambling, whatever the poker, whatever it may be, then you're a professional. That's how I look at it. But you need to decide: are you that kind of bettor, or are you more, which I think I am, a semi-pro? I I really have this down as like a part-time job. It's part of what I do use for my monthly income, but it's only part of a few different things. So but still, you still got. If I'm not focused on it, that's still money that I need to come in into my into my household. So, and then there's recreational, right? You do it here and there, you know, but you still doing it recreational. You don't want to lose that $100, that $50, that $25, whatever it is. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the main thing. I think you need to decide what what do you want out of this sports betting, and then decide, are you gonna put the time and effort into it that you need to become successful. And that really leads into the main rule, which I think covers all the bases, and that's having discipline. If you don't have discipline, you are done from the start. Discipline on the way you
Mm.
cap, discipline on money, discipline on the whole thing. That we could talk about probably the whole show, but discipline to I think is a real main one, and that affects all different ones. How about you?
Well, I'm gonna go from the first one you gave about, which is defining what type of capper you are. And many times when people ask me about seriously sports betting, or if they already seriously sports betting, and I see them, we have those conversations, right? Um, and it's absolutely right. One of the first things I would tell anyone who wanted to start sports betting, capping, etc., is what is your purpose in sports betting? What type of capper do you want to be? But I don't break it out in the same categories you do, but it's kind of the same.
Right.
But my version of it is I consider it as, first you have your gambler. Like, if you're just a gambler, you're a gambler. Your purpose is to bet big, try to win big. You betting on feelings. You betting. A gambler, it's
Right.
just like craps. You putting it down and see what
Right.
happened. You got your
Mm-hmm.
gambler. And then you have your sports better. You had your sports better is the one that kind of realizes that, hey man, I love sports, I love sports betting, I'm gonna do this a lot, so therefore I'm going to have some type of constructive way of formulating my bets, spending my money, and all that kind of stuff. So that's your sports better to me. And then you have your sports investor. Your sports investor, they're the type of person that's dialed in a little more. The type of people that'll take a minus 200 and put $200 on it to make 50 bucks, because of they're more of an opportunist. They're more strategic in the way that they do things, and they're definitely about bankroll management. You know what I mean? So those are the three categories I will tell a beginning capper. Say, hey, which one do you find yourself falling into? And once you can choose which one you want to do, then I could tell you, what's your next step, or how what should be your angle. But I agree with you with that 100% though. But the discipline part though, Dom, I mean, I wouldn't say much as discipline as, well, discipline is important. At some point, we all have to get disciplined to continue sports betting. But even in my umpteen years of betting, I still come over parts where I'm not disciplined. I
Oh,
still
hundred
make
percent.
rookie mistakes and all that kind of stuff. So I'm disciplined in having faith in my captain for sure. Like, I just don't like blindly betting stuff and stuff like that. Like, if you want to call that discipline, then I'm disciplined to that point. But
Right.
sometimes I consider myself out there shooting from the hip. You know what I'm saying?
But
I kind of
we could all use to be a little bit more disciplined, though, right? If that's what
always,
you're saying,
always.
right? And
I
that's my
wish,
point.
like,
That's why it's so important, right? It's
yeah,
not
I
just for the
wish.
new better,
Yeah,
right?
the best of the best. Like, basically, if you're looking up a category and we're looking at a sports investor, absolutely,
Right.
discipline is the key. If only if
Yeah.
you're disciplined, you can get these 3% wins and 5% wins and 10% wins to ever add up. If you're not
Right.
disciplined, then you're gonna be reaching for money one time, and when you're doing those type of bets, one loss is worth like 5 wins. So you know what I'm saying? You got to
Yeah.
win 5 more to come back.
Yep.
So yeah, discipline is the key at that. But I'll piggyback off of that, Dom, and I'll say one of the other things Well, my number one skill always that I say of any gambling is that knowing when to leave, walk away, put it down, stop, do something different. Putting the brakes on the ship in
Yes, sir.
any type of gambling
Yes,
is the
sir.
most important skill you can have. Knowing when to walk away. So
Yes.
that's
Don't
like
chase.
that don't
So
really have nothing to do with sports betting. That has more to do with like life. Don't keep
exactly.
betting
Uh huh.
don't spend your rent money. You know what I'm
You
saying?
know, but I have
Know
that
when to
down
take
as a
that L.
cardinal rule that you have to know. Be honest with yourself. It's one of the rules I have down. Is be honest with yourself and know when to walk away. It's funny today. I was in Jimmy's chat. Betting with the bag, and I I forgot who it was, and I wouldn't mention his name anyhow. I don't know if he wants to, maybe mention it there. But he said to Jimmy, what should I do? I owe the book, I guess, $500. What should I do? Pay it or let it ride and try to get it back? And of course, me immediately jumped in and was like, pay it, forget it, and start again. And of course, Jimmy said the same thing, and a whole bunch of people, Viper, a bunch of the old school low baggers jumped in immediately on that,
Yeah.
and then I told them, listen, there's no shame in knocking your unit size down, your bet size, and starting from scratch. Go back, till you get your stride. Go back to $20, $25 a game if that's what it is to get your stride back. So obviously he was talking about betting with a local. So usually there's a 25 limit probably anyhow. But
Yeah. But
but go back down to that. There's no shame in going back down. There's no shame in betting small to begin with. But
hey,
um,
the two
but that
dollar and eighty
topic
cent
jumped right into that.
the two
That he
dollar
asked
eighty
that
cent
question.
theory from
Right.
our man Peter Loshak with the $2.80 theory. Yeah, so
That's right.
that's a whole show in itself. But
I mean, you would tell the kid the same thing, right? Pay the 500 and then start again, right?
pay the 500, man.
Pay
You
the
live to fight
500.
another day. Always live to fight another day,
That's
man.
right.
Especially if you involved with communities like ours. Where you're gonna have the right people around you to get you back on track. No matter if it's just looking more in depth, asking questions. You know, and a lot of times, I've come up with a lot of winners on games that I wasn't even interested in. Being in the chat on shows, um,
Exactly.
you know, text battling in the comments, somebody on this side, somebody
That's
on
right.
that side, which is great in our community because no one ever takes it personal. It doesn't get out of hand.
Right.
Well, Lisa hasn't in a long time.
No, it really, yeah. I mean, it really never got to a crazy head that you do see in other communities on YouTube. As like people, they're fighting each other, trying to fight. They're
Yeah,
trying to find out where people
meet me at
live.
the store.
Yeah, they're trying to dox people and find out their addresses and all weird stuff. But listen,
Yeah,
what you said again piggybacks into another cardinal rule is you know if ask for their help. There's plenty of people out there to help. Like you always said, you're the one that said it more than anybody. Learn how to cap the cappers. There's nothing wrong with you following somebody, but you shouldn't be following them blindly. Just because I'm a little hot in baseball, you shouldn't be just going on my Twitter tomorrow and betting everything I put. You shouldn't. Maybe what I do personally is I cap my games. If I see somebody else that likes it, that's on it, I find out what I like to see why they're on it, and sometimes it makes me feel good, or sometimes it makes me look at something I didn't look at. But I don't really just bet something solely because someone else is on it. But sometimes it helps to see if someone is or isn't on it. But like asking for help, capping the cap is a low bag tradition. It's what low bag was really started out as the core of what it is, right?
yeah, absolutely. We got a great question in the chat right here, Dom, and I had heard this on TikTok or something because on TikTok and Instagram there's like 1,000 touts and a million daily cappers and all this good stuff. But my man Dabby Cap says, I bet the win in every play. I'm very strict.
One unit.
Do, do you guys think sometimes I should press when I'm hot or stick with the same bet across the board? Okay, so I would say to answer that question, definitely. I mean, to me, like I have a different thing. Like when I'm playing online from home on a daily, I'm gonna try play within my unit size. You know, I don't really take unless it's really, really a gut feeling. I feel like, hey, I feel like losing a couple extra units on this play. Do I ever go heavy? I guess my most success is when I say, okay, well, not only am I going to play it this way, I'm going to play it, you know, first five, full game,
Right.
decide. You know what I'm saying? I'll press
Right.
it out like that sometimes, and there'll be maybe like 3 units on one game or something like that.
Right.
But no, pressing is not always a good thing. But at sometimes you have to press. So for me, being so close to Vegas, Vegas is press time for me. You know what I'm saying? When I go to Vegas, I have a whole different
Press
angle.
time.
And yeah, I mean, you go
I
to
like
Vegas to
that.
make money, man. You
Yeah.
don't go there to play. Like you
Listen, I
go
hear
there to
you.
hit big dogs. You go there to do all that kind of stuff, and you have fun with it too. Though, make sure don't ever get that twisted, man. Make sure you have fun with it, whatever. But yeah, I believe in pressing at times too, but not on my everyday, online gambling because you end up blowing too many units, and then you just mess around and have to reload. And when you playing every day, the key is to load one time, keep winning, and keep pulling out, and keep winning, and keep pulling out, and keep pulling. And that's the ideal situation when you playing, online on your daily grid. But when you have your weekend warrior times and vacations and stuff like that, that's the time definitely to press, man. That's when you play the $1,000 bets and all that good stuff because the adrenaline you get and all that kind of stuff playing with your real cash in the casino with everybody around and looking is way better than me sitting in my house with a lot of money on the line, sweating on my couch, sitting in the room by myself in my drawers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, as far as it is on like when you're going away and stuff, and spending extra money, and you know, like if I'm not in a casino on a vacation, I would never play craps online or anything
Oh
or
man,
anywhere
never,
in a slot
never.
game. So things like that, yeah, I'll spend extra money. But I tell you, someone told me about 2 weeks ago that they wish I was in San Antonio to meet Cab because a lot of things he says, they said they remind us of each other, and I'll tell you, when it comes to that discipline plot, I am like that 100%. I'm very disciplined at what I'm doing, and I do not, Cabby, do not ever increase it really to a. It's very rare that I'll put 2 units on a game. I'll do like DJ says. I'll add the team total if I really like the game, or I'll add a first five on the same game. Have a couple bets on it, but I don't. I'm like you. I stay disciplined. I'll tell you, part of my discipline is I haven't bet minus up until this year. I didn't bet minus 130 in 3 years, and that's baseball, that's football, that's all of it. That's hockey, that's everything. This year with baseball, especially when the favorites were playing, I did knock it up to minus 140, but I don't go over that. I don't play the game. That line moves to that point. I don't play the game. That's it. Or I'll try to find another way to play it. But that's just that. That's how I do it. I don't press it, and I know a lot of people tell us we're crazy for not pressing it because you're hot. Why wouldn't you press it? But that one game, when you're hot, yeah, I'm hot. I went 4-2 today. I went 5-3 tomorrow. I went. Yes, I'm hot. But if I'm doubling and tripling up, one of those 2 or 3 losses I had, now makes it not a profit day. Correct. So
Right.
I think like Cabby does as far as that's concerned. When you're hot, I just keep playing the games. I play a lot of games anyhow. I don't think I'm a volume player, but I don't just play 1 or 2 games. I'm in that
Oh
three to
yeah.
five
Well, I
pick
mean, if,
area.
if you involved with this community or if you sports betting, like if you gambling, yeah, you could do 1 or 2 plays a day. If you're investing, you could do 1 or 2 plays a day. But if you're a sports better, then you definitely gonna do sometimes 5 plays a day because of all the studies that you put in. Like if I'm doing all these
Right.
studies and the card comes up for the day and everything is landing in my hot spots, I turn around, I'll be like, man, I bet 6 bets already,
Yes.
especially in
Yes.
college football.
Yes.
Some games at the beginning, when I'm doing all my research and everything, I don't find it as such a hot game. But then for me, when I started capping for the show, that comes on Saturdays, and I start going over games that I know they're
Right.
gonna ask or have some input about, I start finding angles in there and be like, man, I'm adding that as a bet. Next thing I know, I get off the show, I got 7 bets going, and half of them are just in the first half of the college betting.
Right.
I
Oh, we
still
all do
got
that. Yeah, we all do that.
yeah, it's
I find
wild,
myself
man.
doing that. I'll bet a team total on, let's say, one of the college games, and then you guys will start talking about something else, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should take that first half. It's only -1 or whatever, and you'll lead me to another part of that. But you know what? That whole discussion really goes into another one of the Cardinal rules, and with adding units, don't add units, pressing, don't press it, and that's the old bankroll management. Your budget. What are you betting? How you doing this? Which again goes into discipline, which again goes into what are you doing with this sports betting? Are you going to be serious about it? If you are, you need a bankroll. You need to know. For me personally, I think you need a bankroll, and you could start small. And I don't take it out. When I started doing this more serious, I set aside $1,000, and I just tried to keep on, and I was betting $25 a game, and I just kept on increasing that bankroll so I could increase my unit size, because I know at $25 a game, you could be hitting real hot, and at the end of the day, it's like, oh my gosh. But listen, it's all relative, right? Depending on the money you have and the money you don't. But I believe that's bankroll management is a big thing, and to build it up, you can start small. You can start with $500, and just especially online now, you could bet $20 a game, and take it easy. Listen. You go, you go up 2-3 units every week for the next 3-4 weeks in a row. Boom. That your 500 just became 800. So it can get built up quick. But bankroll management, knowing when to bet, not chasing, all that stuff is all incorporated into one. Correct?
I tell you, I could always use some help with the bankroll management, but
Yeah.
I've tried it. I've tried all different ways because I deal with a lot of different cappers and I have a whole bunch of different theories. But for myself, it's always been for football season because that's my favorite, sports to split
Right.
the bet. I always load at least like 500, sometimes 300 at the beginning of the season, probably because what I'm trying to do is come up off of that because I'll go another 500 or 300 in the middle of the season as well. And then, Super Bowl and,
Right.
if I have to put money at that, if I'm not winning at that point, or sometimes it's that I won, but I pulled the money out, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I
And there's
have to
nothing
go
wrong with
back up.
that.
But I
Right.
usually do that for my favorite sports or whatever. But like when it comes to sport, the time of the year where I'm just like, I'm kind of into NBA. I'm kind of into. Well, I like MLB a lot now, but way more than I used to. So I'm really in the NBA, MLB, but it's not to the point where I feel like, oh, I want to load a budget, for the sport. I'm gonna
I
just
got you.
play it. I'm gonna just play it, throw a couple hundred in there, and try to double it up and pull that money out real quick. Once I pull my money out, I'm on their money. I'll just chill right there, man, and try to
Right.
keep the account open. So sometimes I just for the sake of I've already put money in, made money and pulled it out, but let's say there's $125 left or whatever, right? And I go on a bad street, it's $50 less. As soon as it started getting lower and lower, I started just dropping it down, just trying to keep the account alive before I
Right.
load more money in it
Uh huh.
because I consider that I'm gonna bet every day. So, and when I come on these shows and stuff, I'm never gonna give a pick that I don't got no type of money on. You know what I'm saying? Everything I
Yeah.
have something on. So sometimes I just drag those out. But one of these guys in the group that I was with, and he was a serious capper too. I mean, he's kind of a parlay guy, but he was a serious capper. But his theory is because in California we can only bet offshore, so it's kind of it's kind of shaky with the offshore stuff, right? They do little funny stuff and all that kind of stuff. So he's like every time I put money in, he's like I don't put more than like $50. I put $50 in there. I do some crazy wild bets and try to get up quick as I can. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He'll do a couple parlays, couple $40 parlay and some other shit,
I
and he'll
got
try
you.
to get up real quick
Mm-hmm.
and then get on their money as soon as he can. And this is a person that showed me $1,100 tickets off of
Right.
sports betting on the internet. But that's his
Uh-huh.
theory. He like, nah, I'm never putting too much money at one time, and it kind of makes sense, right? Because if you playing, I would say that for like a slot player. Like, just get on the slot table, see if you hot. If you hot, then it's time to go. If you're not hot, just play a little bit and go to the next machine and try to
That's
see
my
if you're
girl's
hot on that
theory.
machine.
That's
You
my
know what I'm
girl's
saying?
theory. That's her theory. She's I forgot what the amount is, but she has a certain amount of money that she'll put in the machine, and if it doesn't hit, then she goes to the next one and go to the next one.
Yeah,
It's
so
funny.
it's people that carry that type of theory in the sports betting too, and at the end of the
Yes.
day, you gotta do whatever works for your budget.
Look,
You know,
and that's
I
a
would
and that's a
advise a
good other.
guy,
That's a good point. Good point.
yeah, like whatever works for your budget. I wouldn't say I'm not quick to grab no addiction or something, but I'm not. I'm in some way addicted to sport betting and watching sports. Just I've done it all my life. I've enjoyed it all my life. It's my happy spot in life, despite whatever's going on in the world. Sometimes, you know what I'm saying. So I don't care whatever mood I'm in. Like we all have our high points and low points, unless we just filthy rich. So even in my low points, man, I bet whatever I can to continue
Yeah.
to bet and have fun. Because sometimes to me, it's to the point. It's been so long now. Sometimes it's a little difficult watching the game if you don't have no money on it. If I don't have no interest in the game,
Yeah.
eh, unless
No,
it's my
that's
favorite
definitely.
team, I don't really like. If I'm watching, let's say, the Angels and the Mariners, I'm not gonna just enjoy that game because I don't really have no interest. Now, if I put an over bet in on that, I don't care if it's for $6. If I put an over bet in on that, bring out the popcorn. I'm ready to have fun.
Exactly. No, that's a good point though. What you're saying, 100%. You know, that's definitely
It's
that's
wild though. I
definitely a
mean,
good point.
we do get some. I mean, at the beginning of this, they used to talk about degenerates, and I used to be like, man, I'm not claiming that I'm a degenerate. Like that's too much on it. Like I have way more control of myself and da 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 da. But in the long term, we have some degenerate behavior sometimes. So
Well, listen, that's a
it is what
different.
it is.
That's different, and that really, when the word addiction has a whole really different meaning. I mean, what we're doing. I mean, we do it all the time, but we go to work all the time too, right? We're not addicted. So it's hard to say it that way. To me, that's a discussion though. This is something that you can get addicted to. That's for sure. That rush, and that's really a rule something I was going to talk about is your emotion and
Oh
you
man.
getting too high when you're winning and getting too low when you're not, which also leads into the chasing of the also leads into chasing, like we said, that guy said, should I pay the 500? And my answer to him, by the way, to end that one was, you'll that 500 will be 1,000 down quicker than you will making it. So get rid of it and
Getting
go
even.
again. But
Yeah.
listen, I really believe that, and I know a lot of guys that we run with. I've heard them say this, and it kind of makes me worry sometimes because I really think you got to learn how to condition yourself to get the thrill of winning, the thrill of sports betting, make that thrill that you're right on your capping, that you solved the puzzle, that you got to win, that you made a little money. Don't let the amount of money be your thrill. I've heard guys say, "Oh, if I only bet $50 on that game, I don't get the thrill. I have to bet, 200 a game. And when I mention numbers, like again, it's all relative to what people, what kind of money you have, and a lot of people that bet with money they don't have. But that I think is a dangerous way to live. That's a dangerous kind of thing to have in your head. You got to try to get the thrill out of this sports betting, that you're right, that you solved the puzzle, that you beat the bookie. Whether it's $25 or $250, or that's how
Yeah,
you. I think that helps if you try to.
we got my
That's something
man
that'll help.
James Lill in the house, which I haven't met, but I've seen him on all the stations, and I appreciate his support. But we want to know a little bit more about you, James. What's some of your cardinal rules? Put that in the chat. Let us piggyback off of that and get into some more interesting topics, man. But yeah, thanks for showing up and all that good stuff. And of course, Dabby Cab was in the house, and I don't know if he's still in there, but shout out to Dabby Cab too. But he already had a couple questions that we got
Yeah,
into some stuff about.
and he does a show at night too. He does a show I think at 9 or
Yeah, make
nine
sure y'all
thirty at
give
night.
Dabby Cab a follow,
Yeah,
man, especially over there at Pub Sports.
yeah,
But
without a
yeah,
doubt.
man, it was just on the tip of my head of one of my cardinal rules, and
One of
I
your
lost
cardinal
it.
rules?
I
Listen,
lost
yeah,
it that fast. Oh, I know
I
what it is. I know it because we touched on the surface of it, and you can't do this at all. Not even as a gambler. You can't gamble. You can't sports bet. You can't be a sports investor if you're not willing to absorb a loss, man. Like
That's right.
if you can't absorb a loss, put your shit down and go do something different because you're gonna lose, buddy. I don't care how it
I don't
goes.
care who
Like
you are.
yeah, I haven't met a real sports bettor that hasn't lost in my life.
And
So
that's had bad losses. That's had bad losses, not just losses. Has bad streaks. We've all been through it, all of us.
whoop,
And if you say you haven't been, you're lying to yourself. And to me, it's just as dangerous thinking you're when you're running good, thinking that you are that good, that you got this
oh
game
yeah,
figured out and you got this game beat. Because, like
hey,
I always say, it's a lot harder to win 10 units than it is to lose 10 units. You lose that 10 units like in a snap. It takes you 4 days or a week or 2 weeks to build that 10 units sometimes, right? But you'll lose it in a heartbeat. So that's, you gotta try to enjoy it, you know.
hey, but
But
I said it on the show a while ago, and I tell you,
yes, hold on.
I don't get a lot of people in my DM talking bad to me or crazy stuff.
No.
A few times I had a couple hecklers on the show, but nothing like that. But at
That
the end
means
of the
we're
day,
popular.
hey, I'll
Heckler.
tell you, when I'm hot, I'm hot, and when I'm not, I'm not. At this end of the day, it's still one of the cardinal rules to cap the capper. So if I'm going through a losing streak, you might want to get on the other side. If you're paying attention to my bets and you're like, yeah, I seen this guy on 2 shows giving picks, but he hasn't gave a winner in 7 picks. That means I'm not doing so good as well. You should fade me. I'm happy for you to fade me. However, I can
Right.
lead you to a winner. I'm
Right.
glad for you to get to that winner. So, I know I'm ready to absorb all my losses and accept all my wins. And I'm telling you now, I don't give out picks if I don't got no money behind it. I don't care how much
No.
it is. I'm in it like you in it. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
But you know that's one of my cardinal rules right there too as well. Be ready to absorb a loss, man. If I had a guy that I was consulting a little bit with, and he completely understood that. He said, yeah, he completely understood that, and the guy did pretty good as a beginning capper, but in some other areas of capping. He kind of fell off. Like I kind of, I leave the guy. I work with the guy, so I leave the guy on Friday, and he's doing great. He's in great shape. And then I come in on Monday, and hey, man, what was you doing? Like, you was up 350 for the week when I left you, and now you talk about you owe this guy 600. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
exactly. What happened? What happened was he
yeah,
increased his units. What happened was he took a 3-team parlay. That's what
yeah.
happened.
Oh, we got my man Kevin Arnau. I can't Amaro in here as well, man. Like we asking you as well, buddy. Let us know if you have any questions or if you have any cardinal rules of your own that you want to share, because we still students to the game as well too.
Listen, we're always learning, right? So that's 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 a like you say. But listen, one thing about you, like you say, if I'm running cold, just bet against me. But just know that cold streak could end. So watch yourself. Watch your fade.
Yep. But I tell you one time, I tell you one thing, a bit of advice that I learned last year, and it was from a friend of mine who's a motivational speaker on Instagram. And he
I gotta
said,
get myself on Instagram.
he said, it was real intense, thing he was saying, but it related over to sports betting as well, because he was like, when you lose, you don't lose every time. Why would you get so bad on yourself? If you go 0-5, do you really expect to go 0-10 as a person? You're not
Right.
gonna lose every bet
That's
forever. Like
right.
you're never doomed to the point where you should start throwing in the towel or doing anything different because you're gonna win again. And that's one of the exciting things that I've been learning by using more solid capping and relying on my numbers and
That's it.
not
Trust your
being so
process.
emotional. Yeah, I've been doing
Start
that in the
trusting
last year and a
yourself.
half.
That's
And
right.
from doing that, I can absorb losses a lot better because I know my angles that I have are solid, and when
Right.
they hit. But sometimes they're a little off, and
Exactly.
even when they off, sometimes it's off because of crazy theatrics in the game, and
This
that's
variance, luck, variance. It's a whole
yeah,
part of the
man,
game, man. And
yeah,
the whole part
especially
of the process is keeping to the process. Once you get to that point, listen, takes a while to get to the point where we're both at that we trust our process. Yeah, that took I changed it a couple times. That took a while for me to get to this point, but now I do, and now I'll keep at it if I'm down on a big thing. But um, for sure, like Jimmy was talking about it. He was down 40 whatever units to start the baseball season. That's a big chunk to be down right away. Boom. But he knows he's a good sports bettor. He knows that he's well versed and disciplined, and he stuck at his process and he pulled out of that 40 whatever, and now he's plus. That's a nice
yeah.
swing. And that's all within maybe 8 weeks, 9 weeks. So again, once you know what you're doing, trust yourself. When you're not going to keep on. But listen, you have to know that you're at that point. You have to know that you got to watch
Hey,
yourself. Just because you got lucky and like you mentioned, crazy things can happen. Sometimes that's what I was going to say. It's a quote I always say: "Right cap, wrong result. It happens. Could be the
I
right
tell you,
cap. It happens.
I've said this
Happens.
on I said this on the show before. So the way I do it is if I bet a game, and it's important. It's one of those things that I really admire about Ski Profit is that after you win, lose, whatever, you go back through your bets. Now, if there's a game that I've lost, that I can look at that game and say, if I did it all over again, would I be on the same side?
Right.
I'm willing to accept that loss 100%. Now, when I've on a bet and I lose, and I'm like, man, you forgot that's this coach versus that coach, or you forgot that Don Ricci
Right.
said every time this happens, blah blah
Right.
blah blah blah. Like when you overlook stuff that was sitting right in front of you, and you basically was on the wrong side or shouldn't have bet the game at all. Now those kind of get under my skin because
Right.
that's personal to me. It has nothing to do with sports betting. It has a lot to do about me as a man to myself. You know what I'm saying?
No, a
Like I
hundred
have to be
percent.
more disciplined. I have to be more thorough, and that's why I created some of the little sports betting grids that I have, so I don't leave out important details that I feel are
Right.
important in capping. And if that's what you have to do, get yourself a memo pad, write on one page, coach, date,
Listen, I,
time,
I did it for
weather,
years.
exactly,
All
and,
right,
and
for
go
years.
through it, go through that,
Legal pads. I got them all over the place.
and get it all right. You can't always just bet from the board. Some people can look at the board. You already been following because some sports are pretty good, especially like hockey. If you follow it good enough, no matter if you bet or not, sometimes you can look at a matchup and say, "Boom, this the
Right.
winner, easy."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't even have to go look into the stats or nothing. That's how I'm way off grid in NFL because I tell people all the time, I don't really cap NFL. I've been
Right.
watching NFL since I was a baby. I know these teams like the back of my hand. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I know which games are good to me or not. I might look at it a little bit. I might go a little in depth on it, but I definitely don't let the numbers sway me in NFL. Besides, it's all professional players. They all then won national championships, high school championships. Any one of those players. That's why one thing that I like to fade when cappers go too hard on saying how horrible a professional player is. They still a professional player.
Yeah,
They
oh,
still
please.
amongst the
Yeah,
ranks of other ones.
that's right.
I'm ready to fade them. Soon as they like, oh, so and so is out and this person can't
Right.
handle the load. Oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
okay. Let's see what happened. You know what I'm saying?
No, I
So
hear you,
yeah.
man. And I was just looking at the screen up here and shaking my head. Here's a mistake. I made a huge mistake here. Philadelphia played at home against the Angels, who the Angels are just in a bad funk. Philadelphia fired their coach today, Girardi, and usually that's a good sign to go and take that team to win. Especially
Yes.
after they were home. They were playing an Angel team that just got rocked by the Yankees, and they fired their coach. That lights a fire under their ass, under a team's ass more than anything. I bet if we look through all the sports and all the years about coaches, I know we've talked about it in hockey. I've heard Ian talk about it, and you know, definitely correlation between coaches getting fired and those teams winning the next day or that day. So anyhow, a missed bet. That's why I was shaking my head. But yeah, TJ, listen, this a topic like this, the 4 or 5 things that we talked about already are definitely things that could be used in in any sport, and in gambling, in poker, or in anything. In poker, you gotta know your limit. You're sitting down in the game, you gotta know your limit. And you gotta know the game you're playing. You gotta know the sport you're playing. You gotta know the ins and outs of the sport. You have to know, you're betting baseball. You have to know that you're capping a pitcher and you're looking at his ERA. That doesn't tell you the story. It tells you half the story. The ERA is based on a lot of other factors, right? So that, things like that. You need to understand the sport. You're a novice poker player and you go into a casino and you say, oh, it's only a 1-2 blind game, $1, $2, small blind, big blind cash game. Sit down with $200, I'll be good. Even as I've been in a lot of 1-2 games in the casino that the pots get huge. A guy falls, a guy raises to $8, the other guy re-raises him to 15. 2 other callers. All of a sudden, the pot is already over $100. New guys don't realize it. They drop their 200 in 4 or 5 hands. They're like, what happened? So it's just it's a maybe not a good correlation, but like in any sport, you gotta know what you're doing in any game you're playing. You really gotta know the ins and outs if you're gonna try to make money at this. Because I went with I should have went with the Diamondbacks also. So again, I had a feeling the Pirates were not going to do well tonight after their big success against the Dodgers. I did play the over 8. It's 5-3 now, Diamondbacks, but Diamondbacks got the bases loaded. Top of the 5th with 1 out. They're ready to blow this game wide open. D-backs probably were a good bet tonight. It's 5-3. I have over 8, and the bases are loaded now, so I'm good.
Somebody had Diamondbacks first 5. Looked good to me this morning too, but I was scared.
Well, unless the Pirates come up with a big bottom of the 5th, they'll win that game because they're up 5-3 now. Top of the 5th.
We got our guy Noli Nose in the chat right here too. I told him
hey,
he
Noli,
needs to jump in here, man. This is a capper amongst my peers.
We'll have to schedule him in. Have to make some time for us and get him in on the whole on one of the whole shows with us.
Hey, when it comes down to this type of talk with sports capping, talking to Noli Nose is healthy. It's just a healthy conversation. Of course.
Listen, this is what we all love to do. Listen, I'd rather talk about this, like I said, than give out picks. And I know everybody wants picks and breaks down games and stuff, but I love talking about this kind of stuff, and I love talking about and we're gonna do that in future shows. How we make our picks. I'm gonna, we'll pick some games and we'll break them down together. And he's safe at the. Oh man, Peralta got hit right in the face with that glove, but he's safe. D-back 6-3. Put one in the books for us, which is good because I lost the opening bet I had was the Cubs first 5 under, and I lost that. So right now
I like the D-backs in that spot because. The Pittsburgh running up on the Dodgers like that, it wasn't that they was on a streak or nothing like that. It's just the Pirates are one of those teams that Dodgers have trouble with.
Right.
They didn't got into a game
And they would
against the
do. Listen, they
Diamondbacks,
played over their head for
and
3
they went
games.
and they
Good
went
stuff.
right back to being the bullshit team they are.
So there you go. That's what And speaking of the Diamondbacks, so before we get at it, I mean, I know it's already 10-9. We're kind of quick. I wanted to maybe we could just touch on unless you have something else you want to wrap up that DJ about the Cardinal rules.
As as Cardinal,
we'll hit the subject again.
gambling.
We'll hit the subject again, but
yeah, we definitely, and we're gonna hit this subject in the workshop. We're gonna put it together.
Yeah,
for the workshop.
we'll put something together.
Yeah,
but go ahead, finish what you're saying, buddy.
We went over some of the main basic ones, but I got one for you. So another Cardinal rule, man. Handle your emotions. Don't bet. If you had a busy day and you hasn't have time to sit down and cap, don't press it just to have action. You know what I'm saying? Bet when you're comfortable. Find your space in the day when you can cap a game. Sometimes it only takes 25 minutes, 10 minutes, or whatever.
Right.
1 or 2 picks for the day. But make sure you relax. Whenever you gamble, whenever I go to the crap table, whenever I gamble, I make sure that I'm feeling good and I'm relaxed. Don't carry today's troubles right on over into your capping or right on over in, because sometimes you be on like some hater shit because people been hating on you and you get in the game, you start capping and you want to take dogs all of a sudden for the day when you kind of know better. And you end up getting, wasting your time and your money because the dog get blown out, all because it wasn't you could pass that game up. You could bet another.
You don't
day,
have to bet. You
bet
can let a
another
day
time.
go by. You can let a day go by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can let a day go
But
by, man.
what helps you with that whole thing, and which is another rule that we'll go into more at another time, and that's keeping which helped me the most thing that's helped me over the last few years, besides get myself more disciplined, was record keeping. That record keeping has helped me so much to the point now. Sometimes you think you've done better than you have, and when you go back over those records, damn, I thought I did a little bit better with first fives, or I thought I did a little better with totals, or things like that. So record keeping is definitely a big thing for sure. But again, something else we could go into it at another time. I got a couple things. I found about run lines, money lines, game totals, and it's all the stats. And what I liked about this is it included first fives, and you don't really find the really great first five stats. I mean, Odds Trader does have some good ones against the spread, but I found some that I thought were pretty good. So I was going to go over a couple of things pertain to some games maybe that are on tomorrow. Some teams that are playing. There's a couple of decent games tomorrow. Who do the Blue Jays play? You have that in front of you, DJ? Any games tomorrow?
Blue Jays tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, I can bring it up. I'm already right here.
Give me a couple good games for tomorrow. The 2 teams, and
let's talk about the early game. So
go ahead.
You got Tigers Yankees. You got Tigers Yankees at 8:30 my time, which is what 11:30 your time.
Yeah.
11:35.
Right. What, is that a doubleheader?
The Angels.
Is that a doubleheader?
Is
or
it?
No. 11:30 is early to start the games by us. It's usually 1:00 start. So as far as the Tigers
it's Saturday.
Yeah.
It's Saturday. So it's Tigers Yankees.
It usually
Angels,
starts at
Phillies.
1. That's why I'm surprised it's 11:30. But they're probably traveling. So all right. So let's take the Tigers and the Yankees. I'll tell you one thing about those teams. The Tigers are a big under team. Their bullpen is only. Their starters are. You know what happened with the Tigers? They have like 8 pitchers that are on the injured list. They had a makeshift pitching staff, but their bullpen has been really good. They're a little bit over a 2 ERA for the team of the bullpen, which is good. So the Tigers have been one of my teams that I've been really doing well with unders. But they're playing the Yankees, and the Yankees also, have been have been a pretty, for a while there, they were a big under team, and now lately they've been going, over. But let's take a look at the Detroit Tigers for the year. Detroit Tigers are 15 overs, 33 unders, 3 pushes. In their last 10 games, they're 3-6-1. But away, their last 10 games away, they're 2-7-1. So the Tigers have really been producing a lot of unders, for sure. So those are the kind of stats I have for every, including. Oh, I got to sign in, including first 5. So
Okay.
I'm gonna do a couple shows
I'm
with things like that and go over some teams. But if I could do them like sometimes the night before, I'll go over a bunch of stuff before everybody, like
okay.
before you bet type of thing. Go ahead, buddy.
Before we get out of here, this for the new cappers right here, because all you old guys, you already know what to do. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna share a screen on this one, and I'm gonna show you one of my processes that I go through. When I try to find a winner, sometimes this just one layer of it. But I'm using this website called Baseball Savant. Somebody told me about it online. I checked it out, and I
Yeah,
kind
they've
of
been around for a
tweeted with it
while.
for. I tweeted with it, and I found my favorite part of it, basically.
Go
So I'm
ahead.
gonna share screen that one. Let me see where it's at.
Yeah, so Baseball Savant's hooked up with another site too. And there's Baseball Reference. There's a Baseball Savant. There's other site that I found, EV Analytics. They're
Can
really
y'all see
good.
that right there?
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is what I do. I go up here to probable pitchers for the day, right?
Oh, that's right. They're hooked up with
So
the
I'm a,
MLB.
I'm a yeah, I'm a first
Yeah.
I'm a first 5 under type guy. I'm looking for great pitchers who can throw strikes and get me to an under in the first 5, right? So I go through, this is one of my processes every day. I go through the probable pitching for the day. I look for a matchup where no, they haven't showed them all today. I'm looking for a matchup like this one here. Okay, we got Barrios versus Dylan Bundy.
Yeah.
Okay, Barrios has a 23% K ratio versus the Blue Jays, and Bundy has a 34.3% K ratio versus Barrios. So that's just one level right here where I'm looking at this game and saying this right here is definitely a possible under because of the K percentage, right? I'll scroll further. Here we go. Tristan McKenzie versus Tyler Wells. 50% K percentage versus 33% K percentage. That's a great look, you know, for those two right there as well. These ones that never faced the team, I don't know how you look at an angle with that, but however it is, stuff like that, you got to go investigate more about that guy and see what he's really about, unless you already know. But they don't have a lot of pitchers already listed. Um, we got a good pitcher, Tyler Miley, and he's 20% K, but he's playing Eric Freddie, who's 16.7, so that's a no go. You
Yeah,
know what I'm
Fetty got
saying?
lit up. Fetty's last start, he got lit up by the Mets.
Now
Fetty
this
is
one
one.
right here, Dalen Cease, that's just a young rookie player that I've been following all season. So he's a good guy, but he's playing Drew Remison, who's 11% K. So I will be looking in this game to see if maybe we can get a first 5 with the White Sox, or maybe they pull the whole game off. But other than that, it might be a pass. Here's a good one right here: Logan Webb and Pablo Lopez. Logan Webb with a 38.3% K ratio, and Pablo with a 28%. But let me pop out of this. I don't want to hold everybody all day. We're back to normal.
Yeah, but those what I do with those teams too. Then I like to see how team. I'm more of a team handicapper than individual. I cap the pitches, of course, but I'm really a team handicapper. So I love to
Mm-hmm.
see the way those teams are against righties or against lefties and stuff like that, and just to see how the team plays overall and so which piggybacks off what you're saying. I mean, I have the things with all the I have listed the the pitches ROI for the season, ROI away, ROI home. So we got a whole bunch of stuff that we could really break down into it. But what you were talking about? What team? The White Sox? The White Sox are an under team anyhow. They're an under team. The White Sox.
Yeah, but
just overall.
I like Dalen Cease. I'm more
Dylan
on Dalen
Cease.
Cease side. Yeah,
Yeah.
Dylan Cease. I'm more on his side.
I've been doing real well with K props. I've been doing well with K props, but I won't take it over 6.5. If I see a 4.5 or a 5.5, I'll take. I don't take K props over 6.5. I got burned too many times. 7 strikeouts is a lot for a pitcher to get anyhow. So I don't. But I have been pretty lucky with over 4.5. I know I've always played over 2. To play it under K prop is kind of, I don't know. I don't get that, but yeah. I'll play a K
you gotta
prop.
have a little hater in you.
Yeah, you gotta have a little hater in you. But anyhow, another time I guess we can go over all these teams and all these things that are going on. Because I have comparison for the season, for the last 30 days, for the last 10 days. So, and I'm big on that, especially in baseball. I've already don't even consider much from the first month of the season at this point. Yeah, I go over the season, but I only compare it to what's been going on the last 30 days. And when we get into the second half, I knock it down to the last 15 days. I've talked about it on Jimmy's show over the years. I've had a couple of good second halves in baseball. This year I'm trying to put the whole package together. Except for that COVID year, I've had a success, but we'll see what happens. Like you say, it's a long season. Just because, there's ups and downs, there's peaks and valleys. Trust what you're doing. Stay within your means. And, you have a shot at this. This is now a legitimate business, which was not a legitimate business, People used to hear I'm a sports bettor, even 6, 7, 8 years ago, got a kind of a more of a different attitude than it is today. Now it's a legitimate business, right? So
absolutely,
there's ways of doing it, Yeah. But anyhow, it's a good subject, DJ. Something we could talk about. It's something that we could, we could expand on. If everybody stays tuned to, if everybody just stays tuned to Rambling Gambling, I'll be putting more and more stuff out. Make sure you follow me on my Twitter at Dom541. Make sure you follow DJ Big Boss on his Twitter. Make sure you also follow WhoBanginSportstalk at Bangin' Who, to add to that, because that'll help us all out. And
and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, man. And I'm gonna let y'all know we got 899 subscribers. Our goal years ago starting this channel was 1,000. We're coming up on that. My man Teece, for us helping him out what he was doing, he's put up a jersey, and once we reach that 1,000, we're gonna raffle off a jersey to one of our subscribers, man. So please subscribe. If you're watching live, great. If you're watching it on a replay because you was looking up Rambling and Gambling on the internet, then hey, that's great as well. And come back, we got more knowledge for you right here, man. This was a wonderful show, man. I really enjoyed myself, Don.
Yeah, me too, DJ. And if everybody just try to start keeping Friday nights open. Let's try to get this built up. Let's try to get a bunch of people. We can have some good conversations. People want to jump in, you're more than welcome. We'll send you a link. We can have some fun with this show. So we used to do it years ago. Now we're back again, and we'll just keep this going, man. And it's always a pleasure for me to be with my good friend, my brother from another mother, DJ Big Boss.
Yes, sir. Well, yeah, man, we about to get out of here, Dom.
Let's get out of here. Time to light up. Time to watch the Mets tonight play the Dodgers. Bad spot for them last night. I didn't. I got a little ambitious. I took the team total over 3.5, but I didn't like them as a side. Otherwise, I would have bet them at plus 150. But I did not like them at that. But tonight we have a shot. Chris Bassett on the bump, and we'll see what happens. You good, bud? Take us out,
Yeah, I'm
DJ.
on the under in that game.
Okay, you were cutting out. We lost you for a second. You're on
Yeah,
the under in the Met game.
I'm on the under first 5 in the Dodger game.
I'm also on that. Last night I took the team total. Today I took under 4.5 myself. Yes, I
I
have
don't
the
know
same.
why. I don't know why it's so high, but we're gonna cash that.
Yeah, I like that bet myself.
We
So yeah,
out.
that's it. All right, everybody.
I should have.